what, girls? Mommy has a baby in her belly. Are you guys excited? Yes? Are you really excited? Oh my goodness. Come give me a hug. Oh. I love you, girls.
I got the baby a hug.
You want to give the baby a hug? I love you, Bella. You're so sweet. Give me a kiss.
Mommy.
Yes, baby.
In the early morning hours on August 13th, 2018, Chris Watts committed the unthinkable crime that pierced the hearts of the nation. He was a seemingly ordinary family man that ultimately confessed to murdering his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their 2 young daughters. Chris had been having an affair with a co-worker named Nichol Kessinger that began just a few months earlier. Since Chris's confession and conviction, suspicion has grown surrounding his mysterious mistress and her possible involvement.
Thank you so much for coming out here with me, Christopher. I am having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me, and I'm glad that you're having a blast. I am so out of breath.
She has gone into witness protection, disappearing from the public eye and leaving behind many unanswered questions. In recent letters with a fellow inmate, Chris called Nichol the forbidden fruit, a harlot, and a Jezebel, saying that he fell into temptation. While Chris Watts is no doubt responsible for his heinous crimes, evidence reveals that he was, at the very least, manipulated by Nichol Kessinger. She wanted him to leave his family, and she made that clear through texts and emails to Chris. She whined to Chris that they didn't have any firsts together, that she wanted to give him his first son, and that she would always come second after his family. Chris has said that Nichol was into dark things, and that she hosted a ritual with a group of her friends in his basement while Shanann was away in North Carolina with the girls. He claims that she made him a suspicious tea to drink, and that it may have been a substance known as devil's breath. Chris has also stated that as their relationship progressed, he felt a darkness rising inside himself. Nichol supposedly placed a crystal under Bella's bed. However, this has never been confirmed. According to Nichol, Chris had led her to believe that his marriage was over and that he was in the process of getting a divorce. She also claimed that she didn't know that Shanann was pregnant until she heard it through the media. However, Nichole's browser history showed that she had frequently visited Shanann's Facebook page where Shanann consistently posted about her pregnancy and even discussed details about her relationship with Chris.
And I got a friend request from Chris on Facebook, and I was like, oh, what the heck, I'm never gonna meet him. Except, well, one thing led to another, and 8 years later, we have 2 kids, we live in Colorado, and he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Shanann posted the following video in June of 2018. She cleverly surprised Chris with a positive pregnancy test while wearing a t-shirt that said, "Oops, we did it again." Chris appears to be happy about the news, but we now know that this was all a facade. It wasn't possible to look at Shanann's Facebook page and think that she was nearing the end of a divorce, as Nichol claimed to believe.
We did it again. I like that shirt. Really?
Really?
That's awesome. So pink means...
That's just a test.
I know. It just says the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know. Just a test.
That's awesome. Guess when you want to, it happens.
There were many inconsistencies in Nichol's statements during her interrogation. She also deleted all of her text messages with Chris once she found out that he was arrested. However, investigators were able to recover most of them. Her search history revealed that she had Googled Chris and looked at his Facebook page nearly a year before she claimed to have met him at work. Perhaps their affair began sooner than June of 2018. Nichol also shopped online for wedding dresses and searched Google for phrases like "marrying your mistress" and "man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife." There is no question that she knew Chris was married. The night before the murders, Chris and Nichol FaceTimed. Nichol said that Chris was lying on his bare mattress. Since it was late at night, she said that she thought this was strange. When the bodies of his victims were recovered, they were wrapped in sheets. The phone call was 111 minutes long, but Nichol conveniently cannot remember what they talked about during this call, though she was interviewed less than 72 hours later. The two stayed in contact the morning of and the day after the murders. Phone records showed that Nichole's phone pinged a tower near the Watts family home the morning of August 13th. At the same time, a neighbor saw a truck similar to the one that Nichol owned outside the Watts home. This was not Nichole's usual route to work, as she lived in a town 25 minutes away. The security footage from Chris's neighbor Nate shows Chris loading his truck that morning. Many viewers of the footage believe that a female figure can be seen with a ponytail in her hair and carrying a purse. Records show that not long after Chris disposed of his family at the oil field, Nichol texted him and told him to look up the lyrics to the song Battery by Metallica. She said, "I challenge you to look up the full lyrics of this song. I find it interesting that we should believe it's only a coincidence. A coincidence indeed, as the lyrics of the song include phrases like, 'Cannot kill the battery, cannot kill the family, battery has found me.' The large oil tanks that Chris placed his daughters in are also called batteries." One of Chris's former fellow inmates, David Carter, contacted investigators with information that Chris shared with him. He has stated that Chris said Nichol murdered the girls because he couldn't stomach killing his own children, and that she helped him dig Shannon's grave. The case remains closed, and this information has never been confirmed by investigators.
What did you say your name was again?
Dan Boyle with the Weld County District Attorney's Office.
Yeah, I was given this number about the Chris Watts case that happened back in 2018. I was in prison with Chris twice at Dodge, and over the time that I spent with him, he confided in me, and he said that his mistress was still in contact with him, and that she was involved in the murders of his family, and that she was never investigated, and he was trying to protect her.
As police focused their attention on Chris, Nichol wondered if she'd be publicly shamed. Just 4 days after Chris was arrested, she searched for information about Amber Fry, the mistress of the infamous Scott Peterson who murdered his pregnant wife Lacey in 2002. She specifically Googled, "Did people hate Amber Fry?" and also looked up Amber's net worth, including info about her book deal. Her thoughts about how she could profit from her situation seem callous. Though Nichol has been cleared by investigators, her behavior during her interrogation has thrown up red flags for many viewers. She lies to the detective and tries to downplay her relationship with Chris. She doesn't seem to be very upset about the murders, but she is concerned about what the public knows about her. With a heartless disregard, she texted her friend Charlotte on the day of her father's death to insist that she not answer any questions or talk to the media.
No, and my friend's dad died last night, yesterday.
I'm not worried about that.
No, I know, but she started oh my God, she was really drunk last night. She started freaking out. She's like, "I don't know what's going on in your life." She's like, "I don't know if it pertains to this case." And she just sent me a screenshot of a news article of that case, and she was just she's like,
"What about conversations?"
I didn't mention that it had anything to do with that. She's like, "I don't know if that's what it is. He works at Anadarko." She's like, "I really don't give a shit." She's like, "I just really need you to be here with me and my dad and this and this and this." And she was just kind of upset because I had asked her to please say no comments in the media, and it happened to be right when her dad died, and I think she was feeling a little yeah, but
Nichol continues to ramble on about irrelevant information while the detective struggles to keep her on track. She claims that she really wanted Chris and Shannon to work things out while they were away in North Carolina, but more than likely, Nichol gave Chris an ultimatum, making him think that she was going to leave him if he didn't leave his family.
I had said, "Hey, when you go to North Carolina, I really think you should try to fix things with your wife." And he kept asking, "Well, what about us?" And I was trying to kind of take a step back and see if he would fix things before attempting to pursue things with me, because I wanted to know that if all of these things he's saying, yes, we're getting separated, and yes, all of these things that he's saying are happening, I wanted to know that it was you were doing this like you said you were prior to me coming in your life, and it had nothing to do with me, and so for me it was I really wanted them to fix it. I would have just left the situation.
After Chris's arrest, Nichol was let go from her job. The detective discusses her options to relocate, but she already feels as if the public will condemn her.
You look like you're tired again.
I lost my job yesterday, so that's where that comes from.
You lost your job with the geosciences place as well? Okay, sorry to hear that. With, I think you mentioned with your skill set though, you should be easily employable in another locale?
I don't know. I hope somebody hires me. I hope people don't see my name on a resume and just not hire me.
Well, your name hasn't even made it in the papers yet.
Not yet.
So, remember you said that you had some locations you could go out of state, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you're thinking or whatever's going to work for you.
Yeah, I'm thinking a lot about all of that. It's just a matter of timing and trying to figure out when to do it. Hesitant to do it all too soon and then have to do it all over again.
Tell me the name of the geosciences company. I forget.
Tasman,
that's right.
I think I was just so bummed because they told me that they would keep me, and then they called me back and let me go, and I was just like, man.
So did they essentially fire you, for lack of a better term? And that was yesterday?
Yeah. They said they let me go because they hired me to do a contract job, and now that contract was over. It was unfortunate because Anadarko actually offered to pay me for a while, and Tasman said no. So I just wish they would have been honest with me in the first place, but it is what it is.
So now you're out looking for a job too?
I haven't even started doing that. It's not even like a priority to me at this point, but it will get dealt with. So yeah, so I need Hazel to help me out with his lease and sell my truck and change my entire life, and hopefully somebody somewhere will give me a decent job and give me a chance and not judge for all of this whole disaster.
Nichol claims that she has never said anything to Chris about his kids or wife being a problem. The detective tries to get a sense of her attitude toward children in general. Texts between Nichol and her friend Charlotte reveal that she wasn't too thrilled about Chris having kids.
So what you're doing now, let me ask you about the text with you and Charlotte.
Yes.
You talk about children, and he's got his own kids, and that makes you kind of uncomfortable because you'd like to have your own family. Put that in context for me. Is that a fair statement the way I'm saying it?
I mean, I guess. There was never anything I said to him though.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Did you ever say anything to him about
Never.
anything about his kids being a problem? Anything about his wife being a problem?
Never. I always try to be so inclusive with them. And even with her, when I was talking to her, it wasn't that his kids were an issue. It was just, this man already has a life. Should I go build my own, with somebody who hasn't done that yet? And then she was the one that was saying, I was engaged once and it didn't work, and now I'm engaged again, and she's trying to tell me, it doesn't matter, I'm on my second time of going through this, and she's like, I love this man very, very much, and she was saying, he's not gonna love you less because he's already been through marriage once and been separated and already had kids. He's not gonna.
Those references were never made to him though about children.
Never.
So
Notice how Nichol rarely says the names of Shanann, Bella, and Cece. She refers to the children as those kids or those little girls. This is a common tactic used to distance oneself.
You have to look at it from the perspective that I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And how it could be misconstrued or made out to sound something another way. That's why I wanted to give you the opportunity to say what it really means. Okay?
No, I don't mean any harm towards those kids. I always thought they were so cute. When he showed me those pictures, he was all about them, and not only that, but it's once you guys get those texts, you will see, there's not very much mention of his children. And if there is mention of his children, it's always cute stuff where it's hey, you should show them this, or hey, this apartment's great for them, or what do you think of bunk beds? And those little girls reminded me of my little sister. They're the same age.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was so cute. Like, he would call his little daughter, the younger one, Cece, he'd call her Rampage. He's like, she's wild. And it used to just make me smile because my little sister was totally Rampage. And it just was kind of like spot on, you know? And so, like, it just kind of made me think, like, okay, these guys are going through a divorce at the same age that I was at when my parents went through a divorce. And it's like, how did I handle that? You know, and I tell them, like, you know, this is what happened when my parents separated and we were this old. And just try to, like, give him a reference because I gave it to him.
Right, okay.
I mean, but just because I care about him and I care about his kids and all of that doesn't mean that I'm ready to turn around and, like, commit everything.
Did he ever say anything like that? Like, do I have to get rid of my kids, or
no,
do I, you know?
This shocked me just as much as I think it shocked the rest of the world. All of it. Like, he lied so much. Now I go back and think about all this shit, and I'm like, it's lies. Everything that they knew about him was like lies. I mean, his friends let him stay the night at their house. He even fooled them. It's not just me. He lied to everybody. He had all of you fooled. And everybody stood up for him. His friends stood up for him. I really thought she left. I was like, let her fucking go. You know, she'll come back in a day. She'll be alright. Let her cool down. She'll be here. It'll be okay. You know, like, how do we convince? Like, I think she's just upset. And then never would I guess. I mean, even now, when I go back through this stuff, that I'm like, it doesn't make sense, you know, or it, like, seems a little off. That stuff still doesn't send a red flag to me, like, hey, this guy's gonna murder his family.
Sure.
You
I
know?
don't think there was any, you didn't have any indication, and by all accounts, it doesn't seem like anybody did.
No, I just, like, you know, sometimes I, like, try not to think what that man is thinking, because, like, you don't know, you know, but it's like, how long has his brain been, like, shifting to this paradigm shift where he feels the need to do this? It's like, I just don't believe that it's something that just happens in a day or 2 days. I don't think it happens in 2 months. I think that this is something that takes a very, very long time to develop, and I don't...
Right. So that scares you when you look back at it?
Yeah, because I think about it, and I'm like, he could have had that capacity to do that whether I was in his life or not. He could have had the capacity to do that, maybe not even just to them. It could have been me. It could have been our coworkers. I mean, the more I think about it, I think a lot of people are going to probably assume that I was the catalyst for his movement, but I don't think, you know, not me, like, instructing him, but him deciding to do that because he had me in his life and because he was so, like, infatuated with what we had going on. But, you know, like, I try to put the reason to it at the end, like, why would you wipe out your family to be with me? Like, it doesn't like compute. It's like, how would that go? Like, hey, my family just disappeared, and you think that I'm gonna just not be concerned about that? And not only that, like, he was so about those little girls, and I always try to, like, push him to do that. Like I told you, like, there'd be days where like, he would want to come over to my house after work. And I'd be like, no. Like, go hang out with your kids. Your kids are home. Like, that was me. That wasn't even him. That was me pushing that. And he would go do it, you know. And he spent time with them. But he was never like, oh, I don't want to hang out with them. He'd just be like, can I see you for a few hours? And I'm like, if your kids are awake, go hang out with your kids. You know, if they're sleeping and you want to talk, you call me. But don't do that while they're up. Like, spend time with them. And I just, oh, my God. And that is the part that I have, like, the hardest part swallowing, where it's like, why would you take them out to spend time with me? Like, it doesn't fit.
In her first interview, Nichol displayed a lack of emotion about what Chris did to his family. However, in her second interview, she sobs, calling Chris disgusting. Many viewers of the footage question her sincerity.
He's so disgusting. I'm so ashamed of him and everything, and I just... Oh, those little girls. They're so little. They're so little.
We talked a little bit earlier about getting some help for these things, and we can provide that.
Okay.
It's so sad, and she's pregnant.
And you know, on our end, we
God, and
didn't.
they're so cute. They're so little. Like, why? Why? How? I don't even understand how you could, like, bring yourself to do that to somebody who's, like, that big.
Nichol Kessinger's connection to this appalling crime remains a subject of intense speculation, with countless theories about her involvement swirling around the case. Suspicion among the public has not wavered. While Chris Watts has been sentenced to life in prison, Nichole's whereabouts are unknown. The murders of Shanann, Bella, Cece, and baby Nico are a tragedy that will forever be etched in our memories. Let us honor their lives by working to prevent such tragedies from happening again. Together, we can create a safer and more compassionate world.
It's amazing what the littlest things can do, like, in life. Like, when you surround yourself with people who are just negative, not happy with life, which I get it, I've been there, I've done that. But I'm choosing, even on my worst days, to not let the negativity bring me down. Because at the end of the day, I mean, when I was negative and I lived and breathed negativity, it showed on my family, it showed on my children, it showed on myself. It shows, like, it really truly shows. But on those days, I choose to do something that will bring me up, whether it's reading a book or reading a quote or reading something, finding something positive to read, because I'm choosing to be better in life, and I choose happiness. I choose drama-free life. I want a drama-free life.